When we decided to travel to Armenia, we honestly didn't know what to expect. As a fan of big cities, I was especially curious about Yerevan, Armenia's capital and largest city. Would Yerevan be similar to Tbilisi, the capital of the nearby Georgia, which is a nice and vibrant city? Or would it be closer to some no-name dusty city like some third-tier city in the southern Caucasus? Sure, we wanted to revisit Georgia and its beautiful capital of Tbilisi, but a part of me wanted to visit somewhere new and interesting. So Armenia it was. We bought tickets, got on a plane, and landed at Yerevan's airport. After hailing a cab, we arrived at the center of Yerevan. It was late evening, so we wouldn't get a good feel of the city, but immediately I realized that we had arrived somewhere special. In the following 10 days, we explored a good chunk of the country, visiting several recommended cities, and were overwhelmed by the country's gorgeous landscapes, super friendly hospitality, and delicious food. We enjoyed Armenia so much that we ended up extending our trip, something that we've never done before on any other travels. And when it was finally time to leave, we dreaded going to the airport and getting on the plane back home. Armenia is one of the world's oldest continuously inhabited countries. It's located in the southern Caucasus, bordering Georgia to the north, Turkey to the west, Azerbaijan to the east, and Iran to the south. Its official population is around 3 million, which is surprisingly around the number as the population of Kiev, the capital of Ukraine, although it feels a lot larger than that. And Armenian people are very proud of their country's unique history and heritage. On more than one occasion, we had random people approach us and tell us about the country's history and how Armenia came to be the country it is today. And with that said, let's talk about the 7 main reasons why you should visit Armenia in 2021 and beyond. The first reason is how clean and organized the cities and the infrastructure. The first thing I realized when we arrived to Yerevan is just how clean and organized the city is. The sidewalks were wide, spacious, and free of cars, which really isn't something that you can say about Eastern European cities, especially the city of Kiev, where I'm currently based. The cities seem to be built for walking, exploring, and enjoying it some more. There are lots of trees and the city just feels very green. And while I was exploring it, if I had gotten a dime every time I said greenery or green, I would have been a very rich man. Having gotten used to Eastern European cities that are made for cars instead of pedestrians, Yerevan was a truly welcome surprise. But it wasn't just Yerevan that was so clean and organized. So were the other cities that we visited on our trip, including Gyumri, Dilijan, and even the smaller villages that we passed in our travels. The roads for the most part were excellent, something that we didn't really expect from a seemingly quote-unquote third world country, which made traveling and exploring the country all the more interesting and worthwhile. The second reason why you should visit Armenia is the people. And obviously you knew this had to be on the list somewhere. Now this is an interesting one because honestly I've never met friendlier people than Armenians, at least not here in Europe and certainly not here in Eastern Europe where I'm based at the moment. We also didn't need to wait too long to experience this truly majestic Armenian hospitality. On our first day in Yerevan, just after we had arrived to the center from the airport, we couldn't find our hotel room. We walked around a couple of times, we circled the block several times, but we still couldn't find the hotel room, even though that we had the address at our fingertips. Right away, a man who was walking from home to work immediately approached us and asked if we needed help. He then quickly proceeded to guide us to the hotel, which ended up being behind the main building on the street. But that wasn't the only experience. We were visiting a famous outdoor market and then began thinking about our next destination. So we stood near a building and began looking at our phone, trying to figure out where to go next or whether we should take a cab or maybe we should walk there instead. A man who was standing nearby asked us if we needed help finding just about anything. Armenians are genuinely friendly and welcoming of foreigners. Not once did we feel that we were not welcome in any place or setting, even given the fact that we were speaking Russian everywhere, which unfortunately is not the case in many other post-Soviet Union countries. The third reason you should visit Armenia is the food. And obviously, we can't really talk about Armenia without talking about the food. And as was expected, the food is absolutely delicious. Look, I'm a food buff. I love to eat. I love to experience all kinds of foods. I get tired of eating the same food very, very quickly. Unfortunately, here in Ukraine, the food is pretty bland. There are only so many ways that you can eat your borscht, your pelmeni, or your kotleta Kiev. On the other hand, in Armenia, the food is very diverse. First, you have your kebabs, but not just any kebabs. We actually had different kebabs as well. The kebabs were, as you would expect, some of the best kebabs we've had in our life. But when it came to regular, everyday Armenian food, Armenia certainly did not disappoint. The most interesting thing is the variety of food that you experience. In every single restaurant we went to, we enjoyed completely different types of food. And so on our quest to try every single type of Armenian food, we unfortunately came short, because on every single visit to a new restaurant, we ended up trying very, very interesting and new to us food. And every single time, as you would expect, it was absolutely delicious. The next reason you should visit Armenia is the safety and security. Whenever I visit a new country, my first instinct is to figure out how safe and predictable it is. That's probably because I grew up in a big city with its fair share of crime, New York. I knew from experience that the Caucasus region is fairly safe and predictable, and so if you're not looking for any trouble certainly wouldn't be going out and looking for you. But what I didn't know is that Armenia is actually super safe. In fact, one of the safest countries I visited, at least outside of Asia. Everyone that we met told us that in Armenia you can walk alone at 3 a.m. in the morning and nothing will ever happen to you. That's certainly not something that you could do in New York City, and even in a relatively safe country like Ukraine, walking around alone at 3 o'clock in the morning is something I definitely would not recommend people to do. Armenia indeed felt very safe, as we immediately got the feeling that everyone kind of keeps to themselves. And so if you're not looking for trouble, if you're not looking to start anything, if you're not looking to prove anything, trouble certainly would not find you. The next reason you should visit Armenia is the amazing weather. Personally, I absolutely detest cold weather. I hate needing to put on several layers of clothing in order to go outside. I like my summers hot, I like my winters mild, and I like my spring warm and my autumn as warm as well. And Armenia certainly did not disappoint in that regard. When we visited Armenia in May, it was absolutely the perfect weather. It wasn't too hot, it wasn't too cold, but it was absolutely sunny every single day, with a couple of maybe rainy days that were quickly passed over to beautiful and glorious sunny weather. And even when the temperature soar above 30 degrees Celsius, it will never feel unbearable because of the relatively low humidity. The next reason you should visit Armenia is something that's a little bit more subjective than objective, and this is this relaxed southern feel. The weather, coupled with the relaxed nature of the people, creates a very welcoming and a very relaxed environment. This is a little hard to put into words, but the wide streets filled with outdoor bars with the restaurants immediately reminded me of a country like Mexico, Colombia, or even Brazil, with a mix of Miami Beach thrown in. Now, this is definitely a more subjective point of view, because maybe you're somebody who likes more of a northern feel, something that you see in Scandinavia or even in Eastern Europe. But me, I like my cities to be warm. I like that comfortable environment. I like to go out at night. I like it when I can go out to dinner at 10 o'clock. And I certainly prefer to go to a concentrated concentrated area where there's going to be a lot of people having fun, enjoying themselves, sitting in outdoors bars and restaurants, and just having a good time. And from that respect, Armenia certainly delivered. Last but not least is the affordability factor. Armenia is very, very affordable. Coming from Kiev, Ukraine, I found the prices for food and accommodation to be more or less similar. But if you're somebody coming from Western Europe or North America, you will find absolutely everything that you will need to pay for an absolute, whether this is going to be food, accommodation, or anything in between. So if you're somebody who's coming from New York City, Chicago, Texas, maybe Canada, or even Western Europe, you will absolutely find Armenia to be very, very reasonably affordable. Another reason, and this is perhaps more of a bonus reason, and this is more of a subjective reason that really applies to me and people of my similar background, is that in Armenia, almost everybody speaks excellent Russian. And not only do they know Russian, but they are very welcoming of people who also speak Russian. And so the way I described Armenia to my friends and family is that you have this country that's not Slavic, it's not Eastern European, it's very exotic, it's very, very different, but everybody speaks Russian. So it's kind of like going to a place like Russia or to a place like Ukraine, where you can communicate with everybody, you can form connections with everybody, but still the country is drastically different with its own culture, food, and lifestyle. Obviously, this would not be applicable so much if you do not speak Russian, but on the other hand, if you're somebody who is learning Russian, who is studying Russian, or at least you can kind of get around in Russian, you're gonna find another very, very strong benefit to visit Armenia. And so those are my reasons for visiting Armenia in 2021. Honestly, visiting Armenia has been an absolutely overwhelming experience. It's certainly not something that we had expected when we set out to visit this new country to both of us. And in the end, we were so delighted by our time there, with the friendliness of the people, with the great environment, with the relaxed southern feel, with the amazing food and everything in between, that we cannot wait to go back. Those are my reasons for visiting Armenia in 2021. So if you enjoyed this video, definitely leave a comment below. Definitely let me know if you visited Armenia before, or you are planning to visit Armenia this year or maybe the next. Also, if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate a like, leave a comment, let me know what you thought about this video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet already. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.